The family of a British man found shot dead in Libya have said they're devastated by the news of his murder. Mr De Salis had been working for a power company in the capital Tripoli for the past 6 years. There are reports on a Libyan TV network that 4 people have been arrested on suspicion of involvement in the killing. The bodies of Mr De Salis and a woman friend from New Zealand were discovered near the town of Zawaha, 60 miles west of Tripoli. Nick Childs reports.
It was on this beach in western Libya, it seems, where the bodies of Mr De Salis and a New Zealand woman friend were discovered. According to his family, he'd been working in the Libyan capital, Tripoli, for 6 years for an engineering company. In a statement, the family said they were shocked and devastated by his death. Mark enjoyed his work in Tripoli and liked the Libyan people, the statement said. He was a decent and incredibly loyal man and was loved by many. He will be sadly missed by his family and friends. It's still far from clear why the two were in this area, although it seems they were attacked while having a picnic, and why they were killed. Initial reports said their luggage was untouched. There is a major oil and gas complex just up the coast, but there's also a world-renowned heritage site nearby at Sabratha. The Foreign Office has said it's liaising closely with the Libyan authorities over what it's describing as a tragic incident. It's also called on the Libyan government to carry out a thorough investigation. But even on the streets of Tripoli, since the toppling of the former leader Col Gaddafi, the new government has struggled to assert its authority and the rule of law. Many militias and other groups hold sway in Tripoli and elsewhere. One reason why Britain, among others, warns that Libya is a dangerous place for Westerners. Nick Childs, BBC News.
Well, with me now is the journalist and Libya specialist Nabila Ramdani. Nabila, thanks for coming in. Obviously, there's been this incident now. A month ago, though, a US teacher was shot dead, and just a week ago, 4 American military personnel were briefly detained. Why all of a sudden this heightened tension?
Well, this is obviously yet another example of the extremely unstable and the profoundly dangerous situation that Libya finds itself in today. And let's not forget, that we're dealing with a country that's extremely volatile. There's a vast security vacuum. There's no central government per se. And even though the British government has rightly asked for, an investigation to explain, in fact, the circumstances of the death of Mr De Salis, they are dealing with a very weak government who is clearly unable to cope and who's dealing with, a country full of armed rival tribes and indeed militias vying for power and locked in a power game. So this is the situation the country finds itself in at the moment. And let's also not forget that Libya is an extremely wealthy country in terms of oil and indeed gas resources. And Mr De Salis was, of course, an energy worker. And let's not forget also that for the kind of militias that are currently operating in Libya, this is just the type of Westerners who would be seen as a symbol, if you like, of a Western imperialism and indeed of capitalist interests.
Reports from Libyan television, which are not confirmed, that 4 people have been arrested. It's very difficult, isn't it, to know exactly what's going on with regard to the investigation, which the British government is trying to press the Libyan government to fulfil.
Well, yes, indeed. But one has to bear in mind that the security issue in the entire North Africa region is very much a cause for concern for not only the people who live in that part of the world, who are being gunned down in Libya in particular, day in, day out. And let's not forget that the Libyan Prime Minister himself was kidnapped a few weeks ago. But remember also, it's just a year ago that a savage attack took place in neighbouring Algeria on the In Amenas energy facility. So there's a very strong concern about roving militias crossing borders and armed gang operating across the entire Sahara Desert area, which is very difficult to police. So one cannot rule out the possibility that Mr De Salis could have been killed by a cross-border gang, for instance.
Libyan journalist or Libyan specialist and journalist Nabila Ramdani, thanks for that analysis.